Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into what's probably the most critical event left on the crypto calendar this year.
We're talking about Ethereum's Fusaka upgrade.
Exactly. And our mission for you is to go way beyond the high-level summaries. We're going to unpack the dense technical stuff, the why, and the how-to really get the network's long-term direction.
And, understand how this hard fork might actually impact the ETH in your portfolio.
Yeah, that's the big question. So let's get started.
Yeah, this is a dive into the real fundamentals. We've gone through the architecture docs, the dev discussions, all the market forecasts around Fusaka.
So we're connecting the dots between super specialized code changes and what they might mean for the market.
Exactly. It's the technical context and the market impact all in one place.
Okay, so let's establish the timeline and the scope right up front. Fusaka. It's a huge upgrade for Ethereum, right? What's the date?
The date to circle on your calendar is December 3rd. And yeah, huge is the right word. It's a fundamental change.
It's a hard fork, specifically.
It is. It's a hard fork, which means this isn't some small tweak. It's a necessary, non-backward compatible change to the core rules in the network.
And what's interesting here is that it's upgrading both core components at once.
Right. The consensus layer and the execution layer simultaneously. It's a complete top-to-bottom overhaul.
And the name itself, Fusaka, is kind of a fun little piece of crypto trivia.
It is, yeah. It's a mashup of Fulu and Osaka.
Fulu for the consensus layer, that's the staking and finality engine, and Osaka for the execution layer, where all the smart contracts actually run.
And the main point of doing all this, the big goal, is singular and it's strategic.
Scalability.
Massive scalability improvement. After years of, focusing on layer 2s, this is Ethereum trying to scale the core layer 1 chain itself.
But with a hard fork this big, the market always gets nervous. I mean, what about bugs? What about the risk of disruption?
And that's a fair concern. But the preparation here has been, well, exceptionally thorough. This wasn't a rushed launch.
They've been testing this for a while.
For months. They successfully rolled out this exact update on 3 different major public test nets.
And how did those go?
They all went off without a hitch. The reports were all clean. For anyone, especially institutional players looking at this, that level of testing is probably the most important signal you can get before the launch.
Okay, so to really get why they're doing this now, we have to talk about the big historical problem that's shaped, well, every blockchain.
The blockchain trilemma, a concept that Vitalik Buterin himself came up with.
Right, the idea that you can't have it all. You can't be super secure, super decentralized, and super scalable at the same time. You have to pick 2.
And for a long time, Ethereum made a very clear choice. It picked decentralization and security.
Which was the right call. It's what made it the standard. But the trade-off was scalability.
A painful trade-off. Any user who has tried to do anything on-chain during a bull run knows what we mean. Those insane gas fees.
The crippling congestion, yeah.
That's the root cause. So Fusaka, it's not just another upgrade. It's a huge change in strategy.
It's an attempt to finally solve that scalability problem and, I guess, balance the scales of the trilemma.
Precisely. It's Ethereum saying, okay, we built the secure foundation, now we're going after speed. It's a move to address its single biggest weakness.
So how are they actually doing this? I mean, the source material makes it clear this isn't one simple fix. It's a, quote, package deal.
It really is. We're talking about 12 separate technical upgrades, Ethereum Improvement Proposals, or EIPs, all bundled together.
12? Wow. And they fall into a few different buckets, right?
Yeah, you can kind of group them. The big ones are obviously for scalability, but there are also, security patches to stop potential attacks, some tweaks for efficiency, and even changes to the fee market.
I saw that they're fine-tuning things to help with those big gas spikes.
Exactly. And then there's some cool user experience stuff in there too, like making it possible to, say, sign transactions right from your iPhone using Face ID potentially.
Which is huge for adoption, making it feel less clunky.
UX is so underrated. But the star of the show, the real engine behind Fusaka, is EIP 7594. The developers call it Purdose.
Right. This is the one you really need to understand. How do we break this down?
The analogy is the best way. Imagine the entire Ethereum blockchain is a giant book, a massive ledger.
Okay, a giant book. And before Fusaka, if I wanted to run a node to, help secure the network,
you had to download and process the entire thing, every single page of that constantly growing book. And that's slow, it's data heavy, it's expensive.
which is why not many regular people do it. It kind of centralizes things over time because Only big players can afford it.
Exactly. But with Purdose, after this upgrade, you don't need the whole book anymore. You just need to check a few random
A
sentences.
few random sentences, and that's enough to know the whole book is legit.
Statistically, yes. It's a concept called data availability sampling. By checking those small, random fragments, you can be almost certain the entire block is correct and available.
That is an incredible jump in efficiency. What does that actually mean for the network?
Two critical things. First, layer 2s can process transactions way, way faster because they can verify the data almost instantly.
Uh-huh.
Second, and this is the massive win for decentralization, the cost and data required to run a node just drops dramatically.
So more people can participate.
More people can afford to run a node, which strengthens the entire network. Purdose is the mechanism that is actually trying to solve the trilemma, not just work around it.
Okay, so let's shift from the deep tech to the market. Assuming all this works as planned, what's the long-term bull case for Ethereum?
The long-term vision is, in a word, institutional.
The big money.
The big money. Faster, cheaper, more reliable transactions, better security. This gives large enterprises the confidence they need. They don't want to build an application and then worry about a $100 gas fee wiping out their business model.
This is Ethereum trying to play in the big leagues.
It's the big leagues play, absolutely. Institutional investors, they need to see stability, they need a clear scaling roadmap, and a professional upgrade schedule before they commit billions. Fusaka is the technical proof for that story.
And it's not an accident. The Ethereum Foundation has basically been on a roadshow pitching this vision.
A strategic roadshow, yeah. They're positioning Ethereum as the settlement layer for institutional capital, for tokenized real-world assets, for global finance.
And Fusaka is the technical proof of work that backs up that sales pitch.
It is. They're saying, look, we solved the scaling problem and we did it without sacrificing decentralization. This is the moment the network really pivots from just a developer and consumer focus to an enterprise-ready infrastructure play.
All right, let's get to it. The question on everyone's mind.
Sure.
How is the price of ETH going to react in the short term? We have to look at history, right?
History gives us a very clear pattern, and it's usually bearish right after the event.
The classic buy the rumors, sell the news.
That's exactly it. Look at the merge, look at Shapella when they enabled staking withdrawals, even look at Danoon. All three showed huge rallies leading up to the date.
And then a sharp drop right after.
A drop right after the upgrade went live. It happens because the speculative money, it just dries up once the event is over. The only weird one that bucked the trend was Petra, but for 3 out of the last 4, the pattern is clear.
So why would this time be any different? What's the counter-argument for Fusaka breaking that cycle?
Well, there are a few things that change the calculus this time. First, just on a relative basis, ETH is looking pretty cheap compared to Bitcoin.
You see that ratio chart, yeah.
Yeah, and that often leads to capital rotating. Second, Bitcoin's dominance is starting to slide a bit, which can signal the start of a move into alts.
But what about the upgrade itself?
That's the most important point. Fusaka's core improvement Purdose is so profound and so immediately useful for layer 2s that the utility case might kick in much faster. This isn't just a governance change.
So you're saying this might be the first upgrade where the tangible benefits are so clear and immediate that it could actually anchor the price?
It could. It's a genuine question. And that sets up what you, the listener, need to watch. A classic tug of war.
So in the bull corner, we have some huge potential catalysts. Staked ETFs are on the horizon, which could just open the floodgates for institutional money.
A massive catalyst, plus that relentless focus on enterprise adoption we just talked about.
But then in the risk corner,
you can't ignore history. That sell the news pattern is a strong psychological force. There's always the small chance of a technical bug, however unlikely.
and there's one more risk, isn't there? That it's just not sexy enough.
That's a real possibility. Because the changes are so deep in the code, so focused on data efficiency, it might not create immediate buzz. If gas fees don't drop dramatically for the average user right away, it could feel like a nothing burger to the market, and that wouldn't be enough to fight off the post-event slump. Hashtag tag tag outro. But here's the bottom line. Regardless of whether ETH jumps 10% or drops 5% the day after December 3rd, the long-term significance of Fusaka is, well, it's undeniable. It proves Ethereum is committed to aggressive foundational improvements. It's solidifying its position as the platform ready for institutional scale. The crypto market is just itching for a reason to rotate into high-quality altcoins.
And this is a high-quality catalyst.
Fusaka is maybe the highest quality fundamental catalyst we've seen in a long, long time.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to track as we head into December. Historically, the big loud rallies have followed upgrades tied to staking or tokenomics, things the market easily understands.
Yeah, things that directly affect the supply and demand.
Exactly. But will this quiet, super technical upgrade, one that's all about deep code efficiency and boosting decentralization, will this be the one that actually leads to the loudest, most sustained rally we've seen in a while? Now, that's the narrative you should be following closely.